Yeah, this is about how to think before you speak. That's something big right there. A lot of people don't know about that there, man. Let's give it up. This is the Let's Get To It show. And that's a tour with you because I always got you in mind. So if you don't mind, let me break it down for you because you ain't never heard nothing like this before. And at the end of the day, it's all for you. It's really all for you. And I am King Sam the Powerful, the biggest hater this side of Texas. I talk reckless. So if you want the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Matter of fact, y'all can't handle the truth. Court is in session. Good topic. I want to apologize for the last 2 weeks I've been missing in action, MIA, y'all. And woo, it's hot. My AC, my AC broke down, y'all. So I'm in here. We got the windows open, got the fans blowing. They tried to fix the motor. It worked for a day, but then it went back out again. So woo, with these lights on, I'm hot. It's hot. But, they say stay cool, calm, and collected. So that's what I'm gonna do, y'all. So that's what the topic of the day is. How to think before you speak. Because I think a lot of times people they just be talking. They just be talking. They just respond. So it's like this like a multi-level conversation, I chopped it up with my editor, my producer, Katina Miles, and she gave me some good topics to go off. And I got something else, but I might save that for the back burner and hit y'all up with that maybe next week or so, or later on this week, because I think I got a light day tomorrow. So, man, I'm cooking. I'm gonna hit y'all up with that tomorrow, and that's victim blaming. But let's get into why I missed them 2 days, man. Over the past last 2 weekends, I had to work. I had to work. I was up in Culpeper, Orange, up in the mountains, doing my due diligence, trying to, put food on the table. Because, when they call me for overtime, I be ready to work, man, Even though I be dirt dog tired, I still be wanting to work. So, I couldn't get a haircut. I couldn't get over to Elise Pro Barber Shop that's right there on 368 Denver Boulevard. I couldn't get over there, y'all. So I ain't want to pop up here looking like famous Amos. I ain't want to do it. Some people, they say, man, just, nah, not me. Not me. So, I ain't want to do it. I ain't want to show up looking like, looking crazy. It's already bad enough I'm sweating. I got this tea over here, too. I'm about to sip it, see if that regulate my temperature a little bit. But yeah, and I'm back, y'all. We back in business, Baltimore. So I wanted to get into how to think before you speak, like some of the things that you should be doing before you speak, and then I'm a pivot off of that and springboard into different avenues of this discussion. First of all, I think before you even say something, man, you should wait. You should wait a little while. At least wait at least 5 seconds before you just often say something in response to what somebody else say or what you hear. Just wait. Give it a few seconds to process it. Give it a few seconds because sometimes you can hear something and it don't even deserve a response from you. Some things don't deserve a response. I don't know if everybody know that come from the programs in the Fed system. Everything don't deserve a response. So sometimes you can hear it, you can process it, and you could figure out exactly what's being said. Because sometimes people just be venting. They don't even want no response from you. So it ain't, every time you ain't got to respond to it. And sometimes after you do that, you wait a second. It's good to ask them to repeat what they saying to make sure they expressing exactly what they trying to get out. Because sometimes people misspeak and, give them a chance to clarify what it is they saying. That'll help them to get it out better, and it'll also help you to understand what they saying. So you could bring it back by just repeating what they say to make sure you got some sort of clarification. You know, After that, it's okay to not speak on something you don't know about, man. They had a saying when I was come up, don't speak on what you don't know about. But These days, everybody they don't care if they know or not. They'll speculate. They make big time assumptions, and you know what they say: when you assume, you make a ash out of me and you. But I don't think those same narratives apply these days. A lot of people they speak on stuff they don't know nothing about, and sometimes those type of discussions is meant for private home discussions that you got with your peoples when you formulating a opinion or a direction that you would like to go with your conversations. But sometimes you need to form it up first, and if you don't know about it, you know take that time to sit back and reflect on it, and maybe say, man, I'm gonna do some research on that. I'm gonna go ahead and look that up to see if I can contribute to this conversation. Because if you don't know what somebody talking about, and that means you can't add to the conversation. You can't add no value to the conversation. So, sometimes if you don't know about it, it's cool to sit that one out. You ain't got to add on to it or add some sort of wild statement to it just to, try to sound like over the edge or over the top. You ain't got to do that. You can just sit back. And another one, sometimes when you respond, are you helping the situation? Think about that. Are you helping the situation, or are you adding fuel to the fire, or you making a more chaotic environment? Sometimes you gotta sit back and think about it. And that's the whole point of this discussion is think before you speak. Like, everybody allowed their own truth, but sometimes your truth a lie. It ain't the truth. It ain't the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. So sometimes you got to just figure out what's going on. Figure it out first, y'all. And if you ain't adding on to the situation, sometimes what you out here trying to tear people apart? What you out here trying to criticize people without no solution? If you ain't adding on, then you subtracting. You a negative. You have a negative impact. Supposed to be positive out here in this world. You're supposed to be building and known, growing, not stunting somebody's growth. So, go with your gut check. That's another one. Go with your gut check. And I'm going to get into that too, because sometimes you could be baited in to a conversation or somebody fishing some information from you or trying to get a reaction from you, and it's like, man, you got to take a second to think. You got to take a second to think, like, how you feel in your gut. Like, what your gut telling you? Your gut telling you it feel like a landmine? Because this is how your gut, your sixth sense work. Your intuition works like this. It's usually a situation that you've been in before, that you recognize from past situations, and you get that same feeling that you had from before. So, if you're of a certain age, if you had experiences in your life and you've been through some things before in your life, it comes back full circle. So you'll be in a situation where somebody might be trying to trick you or have you say some sort of illicit statement, and, you feel funny. Sometimes your spirit can be a little bit strong. Some people got bigger gifts than others. Sometimes you ain't have to been through the experience, but it's something that's hitting you in your gut, making you feel not right. That's the time to sit back and think right there. That's the time to sit back and think. And the world, today it seems like the world full of cap. It's full of cap. It's full of people saying things that, don't have no substance behind them. They just spewing off. We got, everybody got a Facebook page. Everybody got a YouTube page. Everybody got a TikTok account. Everybody got a Twitter. Everybody got an IG. And, attention is a commodity these days. It's almost like money, because you could pivot and use this attention that you gathering and garnering in order to do some sort of business, which you can attract eyes that's like, is worth something these days. So people, a lot of times, you know, people just say stuff. They cap, they lie, they do anything they can to draw your eyes in. Sometimes it's for the shock value. Sometimes people want to be controversial. What they say, bad publicity better than no publicity. So you got to keep all this stuff in mind. You got to keep all this stuff in mind. And anything, people say anything to control you. So a lot of times, this was somebody was they sent me a video clip. Katina Miles sent me a video clip, and they were saying, it's two ways you respond to things. You could react, or you could be responsive. React is then when somebody say something, you fly off the handle, you just give your first snapshot, and really you're not in control of that situation. And the second way is to be responsive. That's to hear what somebody's saying, think about it, and sometimes you might not even respond right then and there, but you get a chance to kind of evaluate what it is that you done took in, and respond to it in your own fashion, not emotional, not off reflex, not just something that you can't control. Is gathered, and she was telling me that she'll go so far to say, I can neither confirm nor deny when somebody asks her certain things. And I say, you gotta be guarded. You gotta be guarded. You gotta go through these type of moments and sit back so you can reflect on things, because you just don't want to be blowing in the breeze like a leaf. That ain't what we supposed to be doing as humans. You're supposed to be growing with each experiment, with each experience. You're supposed to grow. So, I'm going to give you one example. Like, an example of not thinking before you say something. It's Kevin Gates. Prime example when he was talking about, we brought it up the last time I was up here about him having comments about LeBron James' wife, talk about he don't like the way that man wife look at him. And it was to me an asinine statement to make. It didn't sound like he put too much thought in it, because if he was thinking, he would know that he don't know their relationship from a hole in the wall. And somebody could sit here and say they don't like all sorts of things about him, but he chose his platform to say he don't like the way that man wife look at. He ain't take nothing else into consideration, that they've been together in a relationship. We don't know the ins and outs of it, but they've been in a relationship longer than probably anybody in his family. Good 2 decades worth of being around somebody, loving on somebody, adding on, being a part of somebody's life, raising a family together, be an example of black love together. He might not have never seen that before. So it's like, maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. But to take how somebody look at somebody, you just taking one pinpoint thing. And it was just a odd statement. And this is another thing I wanted to kind of bring up in this is like, you could tell a tree by its fruit. A lot of times when people say and do crazy things, it makes you scratch your head. It makes you like, what, why you say that? But then you'll look at their behavior pattern later on, and they bear the fruit of what's inside of them, because what the things you say are inside you. If you're a chaotic person, then you're going to say a lot of chaotic things. You can't get away from it no matter how you try to hide it. If you're positive, you're going to say positive things. So when people say a lot of chaotic things, they're chaotic. Now, look at him for instance. He says all types of wild things. He been to jail, in and out. I think since I've known who he was as a person, I think he went to jail 1 or 2 times. In and out of relationships. Matter of fact, he's in a relationship with somebody that was like doing the OnlyFans and like all over the internet, doing the most, getting drunk, sitting on people's lap, in and out of relationships, and now he in a relationship with her. So it's chaos. But when when you look at what he says and a lot of the statements he make, they're chaotic in nature. So, another person that I think, Shannon Sharp, he a handful. He got a wild mouthpiece. Like he say a lot of crazy things. Like I think I heard him say something about he don't want a woman to use the bathroom in the same house as like what? And it was just like it's just another one of those situations would make you say, huh? Why? What did he say that for? Odd, odd behavior, odd statements. But look what type of person he is. We get a peek into the windows of his life, and you get to see that he out of control. But that's why I say sometimes what's in you comes out of you. So it's like you got to taper back and think before you speak sometimes. Think before you speak because you don't want to be saying all types of wild things if you don't want to be perceived as being unstable and wild. And there's a lot of people that say wild things. And you could just go, matter of fact, look at Kanye West. Every time you turn around, he's saying wild things. He's saying Trump his father. And I don't even want to go through everything he say, but then when you get a peek into his life, he'll sit there and say, he had oral sex with his cousin for years. But that's why I say people who say wild things is just a good indicator of who they are on the inside because it's in them and it comes out of them. So it's like, that's why I say, man, if you got a mind to, think about what you say before you say it, man. You ain't got to go viral every time. You ain't got to be add on every conversation. You ain't got to say something crazy out your mouth just because people looking at you. Get them your experience. If you don't know about it, you ain't got to speak about it. If they ask your opinion, it's cool to say, man, I don't know what you talk about right now. I can't even add on to it. And sometimes people might say something that trigger you, but as a mature individual, and I'm working on this myself, you got to sit back and not allow yourself to be controlled in that fashion. Even if you choose to respond, allow it to be on your terms. And the only way you could do that is to think before you respond, before you speak. Think. And I just broke down some of the ways you could do that, man. Give it a couple seconds. Repeat what they say, get some sort of clarification. If you don't know about it, you ain't even got to speak on it. Sometimes you could go back and do a research and say, I'll get back to you later on that. Sometimes you can say, I neither confirm nor deny. It's all sorts of things that allow you to get in front of what you're saying. Don't just blurt out the first thing that's coming to your mind. Allow yourself to mull it over, think about it, and come up with a good response. And that's what it is for the day, man. We ain't all got to be outspoken to the point to where we become negative. If your personality is vibrant, if they say you outspoken, that don't mean you can't think about what you say before you say it. Because you look like a clown out here. You look like a fool when you just coming off saying anything just because you think it sound cool. You might be offending people. You might be disrespecting people, and people, I'm disrespect. Who wants to be disrespectful? Like like what type of home training is that? Who want to be disrespectful? You want to be respectful. You want to be respectful. So it's like, man, I was just giving this away right here, man. Y'all check this out, man. If y'all feel some sort of way, y'all got some sort of input on this, man, let me know what y'all think. Matter of fact, y'all tapping with me when y'all check this out. Leave a comment of some of the things you do that help you to think before you speak. Some of the things you could pass on because sharing is caring. When you share, how you get by and how you do things, that's a good thing. And like I said, the next week I get up here, I'll probably talk about, victim shaming because y'all know we got these cases coming up. And, some people on this side of the fence, some people on this side of the fence. But, we're going to talk about victim shaming. And also, I wanted to try to get a couple comedians up here maybe get them on the phone or something so they could just, break down, give us a little one, two, share a set or two with us, man. Give us a couple laughs and things. I got Jamal. I ain't been able to talk to him, but I'm gonna try to get him up here. And I got this guy named Perry, man. He pretty funny. I'm gonna try to get him up here. But y'all know what it is. Um, Let me bring this cup up. Uh-huh. Y'all see what it is. Sunrise Kitchen, Bath, and Closets. They make the process of remodeling easy. I want to give them a shout out, man. They transforming homes out here. I know what I wanted to do too. I want to, like an HGTV type of thing, man. I wanted to get in there and like record them in action, man. Transforming homes and just share that on my platform. I wanted to do that. I'm gonna give a big shout out to Mario Button Boulevard on the stoop. He got his own platforms. He got his own consulting brand. Of course, y'all see the haircut, so I want to give a shout out to Elites Pro. That's Eric Davis right there on 368 Denver Boulevard, man. And there's a couple other shout outs I want to give out. Let me see. See Terrell Scott, he doing this thing. I want to give a shout out to my sister, Julissa Spradley. They call her Jules. She popping up all over my feed now. So, she got some good content. She do the card reading. She give her point of view. So y'all check her out, man. And with that, I'm about to be out of here. Y'all, I ain't want to stay long, but I did want to give you something strong, though. So y'all know what it is, man. This is the Let's Get To It show. This is. And that's a tool with a U, because I always got you in mind. So if you don't mind, we just broke it down for you. Because at the end of the day, it's all for you, it's all for you, it's all for you. And this was King Sam the Powerful, the biggest hater this side of Texas. I talk reckless. If you want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Matter of fact, y'all couldn't handle the truth. My case is closed. Court is adjourned. And I'm out of here, y'all. Catch y'all next week.